Afternoon. This is Jillian Arena, owner of Intuitive Balance Coaching in Jupiter, Florida. And the first video we're going to start with, I'm just diving back into this after years. I'm going to get myself back on video. It's definitely taken a long time. But I feel like there's just so many important messages to share. There's so much that we do one-on-one in coaching sessions that really can be done proactively at home. I know that coaching isn't something that's available to everyone. Maybe it's not in your area, or you're not comfortable with it. Or maybe you don't even know what the hell it is, which is exactly what we're going to tackle today. So one of the first questions I get from very, very, very many people, probably the vast majority of people who I discuss my work with, is what is a life coach? So what is a life coach? It's a loaded question. It's a lot of different things. So I like to think of life coaching as a collaborative partnership. There's no hierarchy here. I'm not here to tell my clients what to do, or to tell them when they're right, or to tell them when they're wrong. My job essentially is to ask them the types of questions that are going to lead them to their own internal knowing. All right, hence the name of my business, Intuitive Balance. It's not my intuition that we're trying to work from, right? It's your intuition. How do you determine what is best for you? And at the end of the day, while I will have my own opinions, most certainly, because I am incredibly opinionated, just ask my husband and my children and basically anybody that knows me, that's not my job as a coach. It's not my right as a coach to tell you that you are right or wrong. It is my job to encourage you to stay true to the core values that you have told me belong to you, okay? And so sometimes it might mean I may question the decision that you're making, but it would never be in a judgmental way in the least bit. My job is to support you in ensuring that you're making a decision that aligns with these things that you have explained to me are important to you, essentially, right? So at its most basic essence, it is a partnership. It is a collaboration to help you get from where you are to where you want to be. And that's sort of a broad statement, right? Like that can mean so many different things to so many different people. So let's kind of dive into that just a little bit more. Where is coaching helpful? Coaching can be helpful in myriad ways, right? There's lots of different ways that I work with my clients. To start with a really basic understanding, maybe somebody has career goals, right? We've all heard of kind of career coaching. It happens very much more mainstream in corporate environments, right? It's become a bigger part of like the corporate picture. So I think that's a good place to start. And this might look like, I really, really want this promotion, but I don't know how to communicate that need or that desire to the powers that be, so to speak, right? Or my bosses. That might be somewhere where you would seek out a coach, right? How do we get you from where you are, this point A, and this desire that you have, to where you want to be? How do we turn it from something intangible and just an idea up here in your head into some concrete action steps that you can start to take to really move you in that direction, right? So let's just start with that. But I want to make it very, very, very clear that that is not the only place where coaching is valuable. Oftentimes we have a lot of personal goals that we want to work on, right? Maybe for me, I know one of mine is I'm always trying to be more patient. I'm like let's do it. Let's do it yesterday. And so I have to really work on that. I have to say like, on good time and blah, 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 blah. And so in order for me to be able to do that, I have to acquire some tools. Oftentimes I have to challenge the way that I think about things, right? There's big components where maybe sometimes I'm having to talk back to my inner critic who's telling me like, you need to get this done faster, Jillian. And I have to be able to talk back to that and also cultivate some patience through that process, right? So coaching is not just applicable to career goals. It is absolutely applicable to personal goals as well. Maybe it's a better relationship that you're seeking with yourself or externally. Maybe it is something like I was just mentioning, something a little less tangible, right? Where it's like, I just want to feel better, or I just want to be a bit more patient, or I just want to be more present. All of these things are less tangible than like, I want to get this job promotion. But they are absolutely things that we can work on in a coaching session, right? It's just about building a roadmap. So I use that word a lot, a roadmap. And maybe there's some, like, what does she mean by a roadmap? I don't necessarily mean we're like literally writing out a roadmap, although sometimes we might do that. But here's what I've noticed when I'm coaching, or even in my own personal life, let's just be frank. When we're working towards a goal, we tend to see the big picture only. Okay. We see the end result and we start really strong. We're like, yes, I'm going to set these goals and I'm going to do this for myself. And this is what I'm going to do. And so we start out really strong, but we may have not taken the time to just slow down for a second in the beginning and say, okay, like what needs to happen first, right? We're so hyper focused on the end goal that we forget that there's a whole hell of a lot of steps that have to happen from here to here, okay? That is where a coach comes in and starts to help you build those steps out, right? So we take that bigger picture and we chunk it down into smaller bite-sized pieces, right? And then we start to reorganize those pieces. I'm sorry, I talk with my hands a lot, so bear with me. We start to reorganize those pieces. And what I mean by that is we're going to take a look once we've got this kind of fleshed out and we say like, okay, this is what we want to do, right? We're going to take a look at this big picture and we're going to say, let's start to organize these steps in a way that makes sense. Which one of these steps will naturally start to lead into some of the other steps, right? Where do you feel the most resistance? Probably not the best place to start, right? Maybe there's so much resistance in certain areas that it would make sense to outsource some of these steps, right? On and on and on, so on and so forth, until eventually we've got this little map begun, okay? And then it becomes the action component. And this is where your coach is more of like an accountability piece for you, right? Not just accountability and like, go get your goals done. Blah, blah, blah. Like you said you were going to do this. That's not helpful for anybody. For the most part, sometimes it can be helpful, but for the most part, it's not going to be helpful. I know I don't like to be told what to do. I try not to put that on anybody else. But there is an accountability piece, right? If you're consistently saying you want to do these things, but you're not following through, then maybe we need to sit there and figure out where this resistance is coming from. Okay, that might be a space where I'd say, kind of noticing a pattern that you keep saying that you want to take this step, but we've met 3 weeks in a row or 3 sessions in a row, and you haven't taken the step. So let's dive into this. Let's take a look at what is causing the apprehension, what's holding you back, whatever the word might be. I probably wouldn't use the word apprehension because that would be leading, but you know what I mean. You get the picture. We would take a look at what it is that's holding you back from taking this step. And who knows what we might find. Maybe we do find that there's some apprehension. Maybe there's some fear behind failure. Maybe there's some fear of success. Maybe there is just a general dislike for this particular task, right? Maybe it's even more than that. Maybe it's completely out of alignment with our core values. And so it's something that we thought we had to do to get us to this end goal over here. But it's not something that feels aligned with us to do. Okay. Actually, this is a great example is video for me. Everyone kept telling me like, you have to do this. And I had a lot of apprehension to it. I don't really love to be on camera. I didn't feel like it was something that I had to do. And I kept sort of trying and false starting. And you know what? It just started like all of a sudden I got it. Yeah, like I think it's time to do that now. And it feels really natural and I don't feel weird doing it. And I know exactly what I want to talk about. And it's a totally different thing. So when we can find ourselves in a space where we're not in resistance to the thing in front of us, again, whether that means we outsource it or we just scrap it all together and find a way to circumvent it, or maybe we just wait. Maybe there's like you know what, it's not for me now, but it could be for me later. That's where your coach is going to come in, is just to really kind of be that person to go, hold on, let's hold up the mirror. What is happening here that we're not paying attention to? What's happening here that we're kind of maybe putting on our blinders and saying like, no, it's all good. I'm just going to keep running towards the finish line, right? Even though I keep tripping over my own feet. And then your coach is also your cheerleader. Okay. Like at the end of the day, that's one of my favorite parts of this job is just celebrating my clients' wins with them. And there are so many, and sometimes it's really little wins, and sometimes it's really big wins, but they're all really big wins at the end of the day because the big, huge goals, 9 times out of 10, it takes a lot of accomplishments of these little tiny goals to get there. So that is also where your coach comes in helpful, is to help you talk back to your inner critic that might be telling you you're not doing it fast enough or the right way or blah, 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 blah. We get to sit here and go, hold up, is that true? And here are a couple examples of why that might not be true. Here are a couple opportunities for us to challenge that, okay? So lots of different ways that you might choose to work with a coach. At the end of the day, one of the easiest ways to look at it is we are retraining your brain together, right? It's like a gym. It's like a mental gym. We're in this office or this setting or at the beach or wherever we're meeting, right? And we're brain ninjaing ourselves a little bit. We're going, hold up, this keeps happening. What can I do differently in the future, right? So there's a really big mindfulness component to it. For me, I'm a holistic life coach. So what that means, and that's another kind of like catchy word we use all the time, like holistic. What does that mean? Holistic means that we are looking at things from a whole person perspective, right? So the physical body, the mental, emotional, the energy field, all the things. So when I'm working with clients, I might also, for me, one of the big things that I believe is that our physical body and our energy body are also holding on to some of these past experiences, which is why, and I'm only going to speak from personal experience, but I know I did a lot of talk therapy and it was incredibly helpful. I would never in a million years say anything other than that. I'm actually still very close to my therapist of, God, I don't even want to acknowledge how long, 20 years, and she's the most wonderful human in the whole world. And I still go to her when I feel like that is what I need. So I really am a firm believer in all that. But what I was finding for me is I felt like there was also like pressure in my chest all the time. And, I couldn't I would feel one way and I was like understanding all these things, but there was still some stuff I was holding on to. And I'm a big believer in that. I believe that our physical body stores the imprints of the experiences that we have. I believe our energetic body can also hold those experiences. So I'm a yoga teacher as well. In yoga tradition, Vedic tradition, they call those granthis, which are like energetic knots in your system. And I'm also a Reiki practitioner. Okay, so both of these things play into my coaching, if and when appropriate. Not every client is comfortable with those things, and so that's absolutely fine. But I really try to look at my clients from that perspective too. So if you're holding on to maybe, again, some fear or hesitation, or like we're not taking that step, another practice I might do with you is go, well, where are you feeling that in your body, right? Maybe you've named that emotion as like, I'm afraid. Okay, I'm afraid to do this thing. Okay, tell me what that feels like. Where do you feel it in your body? Okay, what does it feel like, right? So then we start to make an association there. Every time I feel that, I get to go, oh, wait a second. Is this me feeling afraid? Okay, what am I afraid of, right? So all of these other experiences that we're having, our physical, our energetic, which is maybe a little less tangible, our emotional, all of these things become opportunities to gather data points, right? So that the next time we maybe find ourselves in fear, we can start to go, oh, like, wait, am I doing the same thing? Am I feeling it where I was? How can I hold my body differently, right? How could I think about this differently? What's a different lens I could look at it through, right? Or maybe I start feeling in the physical sensation, or maybe some of that energy changes for me and I get to go, oh, wait a second, what emotion is that maybe attached to for me, right? So that's where the holistic piece comes in, is that's how I approach things with clients, is we're really looking at it from a whole person perspective. But yeah, at the end of the day, I've said that like 6 times, so it must be like a really long day, or maybe this is a series of weeks where we're having these discussions. I'm not sure. Anyway, at the long and short of it, let's try a new one here. Coaching is a partnership. It is a very, very empowering way to build a roadmap to get you from where you are to where you want to be. It is a wonderful way to help yourself take a deeper, safe look at those obstacles that you might be coming up against. Every single one of us has blind spots, myself 150,000% included in that. The coach uses a coach. As I mentioned, the coach uses a therapist when it is appropriate. So all of these things are tools that can really be incredibly valuable on your journey and help to make your life a little bit more easy and hopefully a hell of a lot more enjoyable. So yeah, if you have any other questions, please drop them in the comments below. I'm happy to answer them. I know this was by no means an exhaustive explanation of what life coaching is. I also didn't dive too deep into the differences between traditional therapy and coaching, of which there are many. And they're very, very important to understand, because when you are seeking any sort of support, it's really important to understand what could be beneficial and what could be detrimental. And there are times when a client might come to me, a new client, where maybe it's completely out of my wheelhouse and it's something that I am not trained for. And I wouldn't feel confident or safe or comfortable to work with this person. And in that case, I would make a referral to someone who might be better equipped to handle whatever the specific issue is that's going on. But that's a really important piece, right? So if you're, I'll just use this as an example, if there is maybe PTSD going on and it's been kind of left untreated, to come to me would not be an appropriate place for that, right? I'm not equipped to help you, guide you through that in a safe way. There might be other mental health things going on that I might not be able to identify properly, in which case I would send you to a traditional therapist. I have an absolutely wonderful, wonderful, wonderful network of humans that I refer out to, and I think that that is really important. It's like we work better together, and we also have to know what we don't know. So again, very important that you understand the difference. If you do have any other questions, I am so happy to answer them. So please just drop them in the comments below. And if you do feel like working with a life coach would be something that would be beneficial for you, and you have questions about what that might look like, feel free to give me a call. Feel free to drop a comment below. You can email me. All my information is in my bio. And if you prefer to meet with somebody one-on-one and you are not in the Jupiter, Florida area, which is where I'm located, again, I have a wonderful network across the country. So please feel free to reach out, and I would be happy to set you up with someone who might be a really good fit for you. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you soon.